Welcome everyone to Silverstone for round 15 of the GB3 Championship. We're here at the home of British Motorsport. I'm Chris McCarthy. Piers is ready. We've got the top 12 reverse grid coming up. This is our final race. We got our, sorry, had a bit of a momentary moment there. So we've got the top 12 reverse, Piers, coming up next. Tell us a little bit about the consensus of this race for new fans to GB3.
It's a race to encourage drivers to overtake, both for the entertainment of you at home, but also to encourage the drivers to figure out a way of overtaking, incentivise them to get used to that, because you need to be able to overtake in single-seaters to move up the motorsport ladder and put yourself in the shop window for a career in motorsport. And the way they do that is with a partial reverse grid, so top 12 reverse from the fastest times in qualifying, which sees the drivers who are mid-pack promoted to the front. The drivers who are fastest in qualifying find themselves in mid-pack. Slightly reduced overall points for position, but gain an additional bonus point for every position you gain from your grid position. So if you start third and win the race, you get 20 points plus the 2 additional points for going from third to second to first.
Similar to Formula 3 sprint race for fans of single-seater racing, if you like.
Yeah, similar format. Reverse. Yeah, top 12 reverse, but of course we've got those additional bonus points as well.
Yeah, not as many points as the 35 you'd get for taking the win in races 1 or 2, but the additional points do give you the chance to really add to the points. Now, before we talk a little bit more about what happened in the race earlier and what's coming up in this one, we are promoting Will McIntyre here, Team Will. We've got the charity race that's going to be taking place here on the 24th of August. So we'll be going into a little bit more detail in that in just a second. But first of all, let's find out what happened in round 14, shall we?
Highlights from round 14 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, as Deegan Fairclough would lead away from pole position. Rowan Carroll pulling into second spot, with Lucas Flusher behind in third. Martin Molnar would be able to hang on to fourth. He was almost taking third away, was battling with Rowan Campbell Pilling before he had Lucas Flusher down the inside, dropping him back to fourth place. Patricio Gonzalez was having a bit of a look but could not find his way through, and when he didn't, Nikita Bedrin, his teammate, was able to work his way up into the top 5. A superb move from Nikita Bedrin. It was a solid lead that was looking even as he was holding his way around the circuit. He was able to hang on from Lucas Flusher and Rowan Campbell Pilling behind. Big looks to the inside for Patricio Gonzalez in his battle with Max Rem, who'd come through into 6th position for the Rodin team. Was starting to set his sights on maybe closing in on the championship leader. Deegan Fairclough was looking strong. A couple of bits of pressure though on his shoulders as things were closing up, not only for the fight for the lead but also for the fight for fourth. Martin Molnar, Nikita Bedrin all over the rear end, and was not able to find his way through. Out through the final couple of complexes though, it was Deegan Fairclough who was able to take a brilliant victory from Campbell Pilling and Flusher.
Race winner Deegan Fairclough yet again. Whoops. I had a moment there. You didn't have any moments on track. You didn't put a foot wrong out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a tough one. Both XLs hunting me down. They didn't make it easy, and yeah, I'm just so pleased. This weekend's been phenomenal, and it's just a massive thank you to all my supporters and everyone at High Tech. They've been working super hard with me.
Rowan Campbell Pilling, another podium. 3 for you now in GB3. Championship-wise, you're having a very good weekend.
Yeah, no, really strong. I think, like I said yesterday, the car's been on rails since Thursday, so really strong performance from the team, and 2 XLs on the podium as well, which is always great.
7th podium for you now in GB3, and podium-wise, very good for you.
Yeah, strong results. I don't think it's what we wanted, but car's been there all weekend. Just a bit disappointed we can't get the win this weekend. We definitely had the pace for it, but sometimes it happens racing, but just trying to maximize all we can.
That's a look back at what happened earlier. So 2 wins in 2 races for Deegan Fairclough this weekend. Rowan Campbell Pilling on the podium as well, and Lucas Flusher in 3rd place. It's been a really good weekend for Deegan, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, no doubt. Double pole position, double first race win is about as good. Well, it is as good as it can get, to be honest. So it's, I would think, a breakthrough weekend for Deegan in his championship hopes. He's way down the order, lower than he would have expected, considering the bad luck and retirements he's had. But if he can continue this form, then he's putting himself right in with a chance of at least taking 2nd place. Maybe the gap to Nikita Bedrin, if Bedrin keeps putting in solid results, may be insurmountable. But he can definitely claw his way up towards the front at the very least.
It seems a weight's been lifted off his shoulders now he's got those 2 wins as well, judging by his reaction, particularly when he comes in at the end of the races. it seems like that he's got that kind of monkey off his back. If you like.
Do you know what I think actually the bigger monkey off his back to a certain extent would have been the pole positions, because he hadn't ever taken a pole in GB3, which is a stat that seems impossible for a driver that's been so fast, was so high up in the championship, is topped practice sessions, done fastest laps, has won races previously as well. So to have that has been great, and then this weekend he's just been unstoppable ever since then. I say unstoppable, actually Martin Molnar did lead the race temporarily in race 1, but he then got it back and then pulled away, and then the same thing in that last race, pushed all the way for Rowan Campbell-Pilling, soaked up the pressure, didn't put a foot wrong, showing his experience, showing his class, and showing that he's got what it takes to push on and take more victories going forward as well, although be a bit more difficult in this one.
Yeah, Molnar finishing in 4th place, Bedrin in 5th place as well, so we haven't seen him on the podium this weekend, which seems bizarre.
Yeah, it does seem bizarre. We may well see him on the podium in this one. He seemed a bit quicker in that last race, was back on the pace, the pace of the fastest drivers, but he didn't have the pace advantage he's enjoyed at some of the previous races, so wasn't able to carve his way through right to the front. But this, it's all to play for. We like the reverse grid, the partial reverse grid. It throws a spanner in the works, because even though the drivers in the front, at least 8-9 drivers or so, evenly matched on times, they're the wrong way. So instead of the gaps ever so slightly opening out throughout the race, they close up as we get further and further into the race.
Yeah, we got a driver on pole position who's just jumped in this weekend in Eddie Robinson as well, Rodrigo Gonzalez alongside, who hasn't taken a podium in GB3, so great opportunities for those two.
Yeah, Rodrigo's been quick at times, hasn't he? His brother in that last one, Patricio, was right up there. They're teammates of Nikita at VRD, who have clearly put a good car together this season, especially at Silverstone. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how Eddie goes from pole position. Pressure in his first event.
Jacob Mikulev as well, it hasn't taken a podium and will be 3rd place. Now, we mentioned it earlier, we've got Will McIntyre's family here this weekend, trying to raise as much money for him as possible. They're going to have the charity kart race here on Monday the 24th at Silverstone. We'll both be there. Here's a little bit more information about what they're doing to raise awareness for Will McIntyre.
A driver that we've spoken a lot about when he was racing, and then subsequently, unfortunately for the reasons that maybe aren't the most fun, is Will McIntyre, a driver that was 5th in the championship previously. And we've got Will's family here who are supporting, because Will's been going through a difficult time. Most people in motorsport, of course, have heard, but give us a bit of an update on how Will's doing and what's going on.
Yeah, he's doing okay at the moment, just a lot of hospital visits, staying home, just trying to look after himself really, but we're just trying our best to keep ourselves busy and try and promote what's going on here with the Anthony Nolan Trust and with Team Will 37.
Amazing. Of course, Team Will 37 has been supported by lots of drivers in this championship, drivers and all over the world in different championships as well. It must be amazing to see the support that he's getting.
It's fantastic. The motorsport community have come together and have really shown support to Will, and he sees the messages from everybody, and it really gives him some positive vibes, so thank you very much indeed.
Sean and Amber, first of all, thank you so much for being here with us this weekend, and also tell us a bit about what you're doing. You've got Anthony Nolan t-shirts on. We're here in front of a stall here at the Race Hub, the centre for everyone at the race weekend. Tell us a bit about what's going on, how people can get involved and help if they can.
So we've got swab packs for the Anthony Nolan Trust, so anyone aged 16 to 30 can sign up to be on the stem cell register. So we've got some swabs, we've also got a QR code so they can sign up online and have a swab posted to their house. We've also got Team Will stickers and Will's charity kart race, which will be here at Silverstone on the 24th of August. We've got sign-up sheets for that as well. So pretty much anything to do with Will or Anthony Nolan, come here and you can find out.
Amazing. And for those who maybe have heard of Anthony Nolan and don't know what it is, or maybe have not heard of Anthony Nolan, Sean, tell us a bit about what Anthony Nolan do, the connection with Will and the connection with the other people that it helps as well.
So the Anthony Nolan Trust it's a 50-year-old charity, and they have so far 900,000 people on the database for stem cell transplants. They help people with lymphomas, blood conditions, or in Will's case, autoimmune conditions. So Will need a stem cell transplant. That will involve him staying in hospital for 6 weeks. He needs to find a donor, and a donor will be found by using mouse swabs that we have here. When they do donate, it's a blood transfusion which lasts for 4 hours, but you can save a life. Get your swab pack and swab your mouth. Thank you.
Well, do you know what? I am genuinely going to sign up this weekend. I think it's a great thing to do. If anyone at home is between 16 and 30, then definitely get involved. You could help Will or a number of people all over the country and the world as well, because you know it's really vital. It's really vital to survival for those a lot of people. So really good to see. Again, a reminder, 24th of August, there's Will's charity kart race. I think there's still availability, isn't there?
Limited availability, so you better get in quick.
Better get in quick. And how could they sign up and find out about that?
William's website has all the information that you need. It's willmcintyre.co.uk.
So make sure you Google that, get involved, and also thank you so much for coming down. It's I'm so glad that the motorsport community have come behind Will, and hopefully we'll see Will back to full health, and then maybe even back racing again once in the future when it's all sorted. So thank you, Sean, Amber. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Sean and Amber there, Will McIntyre's mum and sister. It's going to be, obviously everyone trying to get behind him here in the paddock. I got a little bit of that earlier. Me and Deegan Fairclough were both getting it.
Is that permanent?
Did you? We'll find out, I guess. I've seen you again in a couple of weeks. The kart race is going to be really good. Over half the space is already full. We've got some very special guests that are going to be there. We're going to be there as well, doing a little bit of commentary for the event.
I might even get behind the wheel.
You might get behind the wheel, trying to fight for a space. But yeah, I think it's great that the paddock has really come together to try and support Will. And Will, we're all behind you if you are watching. It's not just this paddock either. I think this paddock has inspired others to do the same.
Oh, it's incredible to see the support for Will, and we'll get well soon. Hopefully we'll see you back at least fully fit, and then maybe behind the wheel at some point.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at a lap of Silverstone. We got the track guide for Silverstone Grand Prix coming up. If you haven't seen it in a GB3 car before, here's a little look.
The home of British Motor Racing hosts this weekend's racing in the GB3 Championship, of course with that iconic run into Maggots, Becketts and Chapel. The DRS zone that takes us down to the Stowe sees plenty of overtakes around this part of the circuit through Vale Club and onto the Hamilton Straight, climbing up the hill at Abbey into the Village and Loop section where we've got a second DRS zone down into Brooklands and Luffield. Back out onto the start-finish straight as they fire their way through the right-hander at Woodcote. It's 18 challenging and technical corners for all the drivers to deal with, and those 2 DRS zones to assist them when it comes to overtakes. 3.6 miles all the way around and plenty of space to make some overtakes.
Let's take an onboard lap in the GB3 Championship in 2026 in August here with Dante Vinci for Hill Speed as we head through Copse Corner, nearly flat out in qualifying conditions, and we head down towards the world famous section of corners, Maggots, Becketts and Chapel. Maggots the right, hit the apex, stay right to open up, Becketts, stay left, and then the most important of the trio, Chapel here. Get the curb on the apex, plant the throttles. We've got a long, over 700 metre long run towards the next corner, which is Stowe. The hanger straight, DRS will be open. You can see top left hand side of shot, the DRS open on this lap. Overtaking inside and outside can be done in the races. Through towards Stowe, off camber and downhill at the exit. Watch out for track limits once again on the exit. Dante absolutely nails it this time, and we brake heavily now for Vale. Inside and outside overtaking opportunities in the races. We stay left to open up the right of Club. We can go nearly flat out there in qualifying conditions. It may require a lift if you're in the dirty air of the races. Now the Hamilton Straight, an opportunity once again for the drivers to use the slipstream and get themselves in an overtaking position for Village. This is flat out from Abbey and then the left of Farm before we head down to Village and the Loop. Village, very late braking opportunity. Inside and outside we'll see moves here. And the Loop, probably the trickiest corner on the circuit, one of the slowest but also critical to lap time, and also we'll see a lot of overtaking there in the races. Get the traction down on the exit, we flick through left onto the Wellington Straight. Once again DRS will be enabled if you are within a second of the car in front in the races. Brooklands corner, high load, high commitment. Use the curb on the entry to open up the entry to Brooklands, carry high minimum speed through there. We didn't quite make the apex on this lap, but we're back to the right for Luffield. First apex must be hit. Second apex you don't need to get back to as long as you get good traction on the exit. Watch out for track limits. The gravel's right there. Then Woodcote is completely flat out for a lap of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in GB3.
There we go. That's a look at the Silverstone circuit. Piers, so many opportunities in this race, haven't we? We've got, as we mentioned, drivers on the front 3 positions yet to get on the podium. This is the race of opportunity, if you like, isn't it, this reverse?
It's a good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, I've got, as you mentioned, a debutant on pole position, and then you've got Rodrigo Gonzalez and Jacob McGlade right there or thereabouts looking to take it. But then you've got drivers further back. Leon Wilson, a regular driver in this paddock, has moved up from GB4. He's right there or thereabouts. And Abbey Pulling, previous race winner and pole sitter as well, in 5th place. All to play for. I think this is going to be tasty.
I think it really is. The car's just starting to make their way out. I think let's very quickly hear from one more driver, shall we? We've got Ricardo Baptista, who we're going to hear from next. I can just see his car over there. He's getting ready to go. Let's hear from Ricardo Baptista before we go live in GB3.
Ricardo, we've seen in recent rounds your pace has been getting better and better, consistently inside or around about the top 10. This weekend, not exactly going to plan so far, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's been a tough weekend. We had a very difficult Friday yesterday, Saturday actually. We had a mechanical issue on quali, which set us back for the races. And in race 1, we also had another mechanical issue on lap 1. We had to retire. So it's been a tough weekend until now, but yeah, we'll try to give our best now today, and yeah.
Character building, I think, is how we might put it in the UK, where you learn from it. But you're going from 19th in the race 3 still opportunities for you to get some points.
Yeah, for sure. We always have a chance. We have to just give our best. We're starting a bit from the back, but nothing stops us from potentially getting a good result. And yeah, it's just giving our best, and we'll see what comes.
And you're a Brazilian driver that's come over to Europe to race. I know you've been going backwards and forwards. How have you been managing the time distance and the travelling?
In the beginning it was harder with pre-season testing and everything, but with time I got used to it. I'm very used now to coming from home here and backwards. So yeah, I'm slowly getting used to it. It's becoming normal.
Does the UK feel like home yet?
Yeah, it's starting to feel like.
Amazing. Well, Ricardo, thanks very much for taking the time to chat to us, and we'll see how you get on in the final race.
Thank you very much.
We're on the national pit straight here at Silverstone. Piers, you raced here in 2020. What was it like coming out onto this circuit? This is the circuit that all of us have so many memories of watching the British Grand Prix here. Does it bring back memories now you're out here on the circuit?
Well, yes and no. But when I raced in 2020, it was November, or was it the start of December? I can't remember. It was 4 degrees, raining, nearly raining, and but yes, I do remember racing around here, and it was an epic circuit.
I'll take that.
Yeah, it was an epic circuit. Even in November when it was cold and wet, it was incredible. I think I mentioned it in yesterday's show. Silverstone, I feel like, is as close as you can get to what it feels like flying a plane. Again, I've never flown a plane, but it's just so smooth, so fast. It's all about minimum speed. It's all about carrying the speed through the corners. It's a real thrill. You get to use the car's downforce. You get to use the grip to its absolute maximum. And then racing around here side by side, there's space to move. There's space to make positions. It's just an absolutely perfect circuit for these cars.
We're hearing Abby Pulling didn't make it out the pit lane, so we'll wait and see if there's an empty grid slot on the third row, and yes there is. So a bit of a disaster for Abby Pulling there. We'll wait and see. We can see just pictures to the right here that they are working on our car, so that's a real shame, because looking at Abby Pulling furthest up the grid that's had a win, this was a real opportunity for her.
The real opportunity for her to take a reverse good race win and make some positions, but it doesn't look like she's going to be able to gain any of those bonus points, and maybe won't even make it out. I think we're probably better get ourselves off of the grid, actually, because we're probably not long away from
they are starting
getting
to clear very shortly. You don't want to go back out and race and
run
around, do you?
I would, but I'm not wearing any race gear, Chris, so
right, okay, I think that's enough of us talking around. We're going to try and get to a safe place. Meanwhile, here's Lewis McGlade up in commentary box.
Reverse grid drama here at the home of British motor racing, the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, which has seen 2 victories this weekend at the hands of Deegan Fairclough. From pole position, he'll have to work his way up from 12th to maybe challenge for another victory. Let's take a look at the circuit one last time then here in GB3. Magnus, Beckett and Chapel, the hangar straight, where there was some struggles for overtakes in the previous race. The wind was not favourable for a move into Stowe. The Hamilton straight brings us back up the hill through Abbey and Village into the loop section, where we've got Brooklands, Luffield and Woodcote at the end of the Wellington straight to see us around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. A Silverstone circuit which will see Eddie Robinson starting from reverse grid pole, and the first weekend in GB3. Obviously, last time we were racing, we've got Abby pulling into the, will be starting from the pit lane as the formation lap begins. Remember when we had Max Rem join at the end of last season and was able to take victory in the third and final race that weekend? Wonder if that might go the way of Eddie Robinson in this one. Got Rodrigo Gonzalez alongside on that front row, so it's not going to be easy at all. You can see them heading their way through the opening corner and getting some heat into their tyres. Eddie Robinson leading the field for the first time for the Elite Motorsports team. We'll get the starting grid to see all the way through the 21 car field. Eddie Robinson and Rodrigo Gonzalez will be the ones starting on the front row of the grid. And obviously they've qualified pretty well throughout the round, and they've been reversed into a solid spot from the midfield. Obviously the likes of Deegan Fairclough starting from 12th position in this. Nikita Bedrin potentially the favourite for this race from 6th place for VRD Racing, and obviously you can see there Jason Pribble will be the 21st and final car on the grid order. Obviously the final bits of warmth going into it. We've got Eddie Robinson, who then will be starting from pole position. Rodrigo Gonzalez on the front row. Jacob Micallef and Leon Wilson in third and fourth on the second row of the grid, before we get to Abby Pulling, who will not be starting from the grid from the pit lane for her. Nikita Bedrin gets a freebie then. We'll start from 6th place. We've got Patricio Gonzalez alongside Maxime Rem on row number 4, before we get to Martin Molnar and Lucas Flusha, who's been on a handful of podiums, including the previous one. Rowan Campbell-Pilling and Deegan Fairclough, the driver that finished first and second in the previous race. 2 podiums this weekend for Campbell-Pilling, 2 wins for Deegan Fairclough. Flynn Jackson, Q-Ho Lee in 13th and 14th position for Elite Motorsports, before it's all hill speed on row 8. Dante Vinci and Aurelia de Bells in 16th. Jack Taylor will start from 17th alongside Peter Bowser, no less, for the hill speed team. 2 final rows to deal with, and Ricardo Baptista and Yu Hao Fu. Final row being Jason Pribble all by himself. Piers Pryor, you've taken the extraordinarily long walk up here. It's been quite. The other day you walked longer, but from that end of the starting grid all the way up here to the commentary booth, joining me.
It's no Brands Hatch.
It's no Brands Hatch. No.
Brands Hatch is a bit of a trek. We've got that to come later this year, but it's going to be a long run up the order as well for Abby Pulling if she's going to get herself into some decent points. That is so unfortunate, isn't it, for Pulling? But good to see the Rodin team able to get her at least out on circuit to try and fight for some points in this one.
Obviously, it was a frustrating start to the weekend. Qualified 4th for the opening race of the weekend. Seemed pretty happy with that. Qualified 8th for the second race, and was pretty dejected by a driver who knows that she can fight towards the front, but unfortunately it's not quite working this weekend at Silverstone for her.
Fight towards the front? She's taken race wins, of course, hasn't she? And taken pole positions, and unfortunately not able to do that in this one. Sitting there in the car for this long without moving, you actually get quite hot because you've got the radiators either side, you've got the engine behind you, the car's obviously just sitting in the sun as well, as you're wearing
She's under investigation for a pit lane infringement already.
Interesting.
Race hasn't even begun yet.
Interesting. We'll keep an eye on that and let you know what's going on.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. It might go from bad to worse for Abby Pulling. Well, the lights are on. The reverse grid race is ready, and we are racing it in GB3 once again. A perfect start from the front of the field as we head our way down into the opening corner for round 15. As unfortunately, Eddie Robinson is going to drop back behind Rodrigo Gonzalez, who's just taken over the race lead in the opening corner into Magnus Beckers in Chapel. It's Rodrigo Gonzalez from Eddie Robinson. Jacob Micallef is also on the prowl, sits in that third position at the moment. He tries to get past Eddie Robinson. Not a great start from Leon Wilson. Big kick of oversteer. Rodrigo Gonzalez, Patricio Gonzalez rather, might be able to get back through. Not been a great start from Nikita Bedrin, nor from Martin Molnar, who just skipped over on the exit of Chapel there.
Molnar was side by side, I think, with Campbell-Pilling or Flusha. I didn't quite catch the number as they went through Chapel. He had to take to the escape road, and that hurt his exit. He lost that position, and wide goes Rem on the exit of Stowe Corner. Dream start for Rodrigo Gonzalez. Now Micallef looking up the inside of Eddie Robinson. They go side by side through Vale, but once again, a driver that tries to make a move at Vale then loses out on the exit of Club.
Seen that before a couple of times. That was Leon Wilson working his way back through. Brilliant stuff then from Wilson. We've got the number 12 of Aurelia de Bells there further off the field, so clearly there's been some drama back there. Micallef dropping back into 4th position. This is allowing Rodrigo Gonzalez to build a fair margin as the XLs now go into attack. The black and white car there of Maxime same rem. You've got the number 7 of Lucas Flusha, the number 8 of Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Martin Molnar's trying to get to the outside as they head back out through Aintree. And meanwhile, the fight that we're looking at there for 5th position, which is Nikita Bedrin against Patricio Gonzalez.
Patricio Gonzalez looking up the inside of his higher placed in the championship teammate. They go side by side into Brooklands. They were doing battle in the previous race and they're doing battle again this time. Patricio, he's got through.
And Patricio Gonzalez, of course, a race winner in GB3 at the previous race. Rodrigo Gonzalez was in contention to be on the podium that day, and unfortunately an incident late on would remove his chances and aspirations of getting on the podium with his brother. This time starting to build a gap on the field. Some little brushes, I think maybe, or it might have just been the concrete dust that's been picked up there by Martin Molnar, who was trying to get himself involved. There was some side-by-side directly ahead of him, I believe from Q Ho Lee and Rowan Campbell-Pilling.
Yeah, they file their way through Maggotts and Beckett's once again. Field just stringing out ever so slightly after a frantic first lap. There was plenty of movement and potential moves and not a huge amount of change up and down the order. You can see, look how close they were, those battle. That was the two, I think that was Vinci. Fairclough's not had a great start to the race, has he? He's lost positions.
I was about to say he's down to 14th, but I was maybe down to 12th. But as the timing moves around all over the place, we've got the Bowser Nellis and Vinci. It's Vinci on the outside, Bowser Nellis on the inside. Vinci is in the 10, Bowser Nellis is in the 11 between the pair of them. The Australian teammates going toe-to-toe there. They have Jack Taylor as well, not too far ahead. A contingent of Australian drivers with the Philippine of Flynn Jacks ahead of that, and Deegan Fairclough, the British driver, trying to pull away from that group as best he can, and I think might well be doing so, especially whilst these hill speeds fight again.
Yep.
Dante Vinci looks to the outside.
Yeah, hill speed and Richard Olleran, short team manager, are going to be nervous now as they see their drivers go side by side for the second time this lap, fighting hard for positions. As now Jason Pribble in the Nitrous Competitions ADM car under pressure from the number 5 high-tech car of Yahao Fu for the lower end of the grid. So position or two gain from Pribble. Unfortunately qualified last. He knew he had more pace in the car than that, but wasn't able to extract in qualifying. Has made positions in pretty much every race so far. We cut back towards the front of the field. Leon Wilson in the 27, now under pressure from the number 4 of Jacob Mishkalev.
And the number 5 of Fu that we were just seeing there battling with Jason Pribble has been given a 10-second post-race time penalty for a false start. So there is that to deal with. 4 minutes into the race, Rodrigo Gonzalez is your race leader. Eddie Robinson on his debut weekend in GB3 is just about able to hang on a second. Leon Wilson's knocking at the door as well. And to be fair, they've all kind of spread out a little bit in the top 3, and it's Wilson the one who's under the most pressure from Mikolev, and Patricio Gonzalez, of course. Nikita Bedrin having got up to 5th position, dropping down into 6th. He's not had the pace that we normally see from Bedrin this weekend, and whilst he's come into this race as the firm favourite, whilst the first laps have come in, I definitely don't think that that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Bedrin, even in this race, the team thought they might be able to effect a change that would give Bedrin a bit more pace, but being passed by his teammate, that's not something we've seen very much this season, is it? Either of the Gonzalez brothers, Rodrigo or Patricio, generally been just a little way off Nikita Bedrin, but that's no disrespect to either of the Gonzalez brothers, because Bedrin is basically the most experienced driver at this level in world single-seater racing, which is, again, no disrespect to him either, because, you know, it shows the level of performance he can deliver week in, week out. That's why he's got such a large championship lead at the moment, but unfortunately in this race, just not able to stay with Patricio.
Obviously still has the pace though, because as much as he might not be able to stay with Patricio Gonzalez, we did see a last race he was kind of backing off and then closing back in, and then backing off and then closing back in at various points. There's Abby Pulling, who's not too far behind Yuhao Fu as they battle for 19th position. This is your race leader Rodrigo Gonzalez, who holds the lead of 7/10 of a second. The gap on the previous lap, I mean, it's kind of ebbing and flowing a little bit. I suspect Eddie Robinson is closing in quite a bit this one. Could Eddie Robinson take a victory in this final race of the weekend, in his first weekend in this championship?
So I've been impressed by Eddie Robinson. He's joined the championship in such a competitive series. I spoke to him ahead of this race. You have seen that one as well. And when I spoke to him, he said that, you know, he's joining and he's aware that everyone's got half a season pretty much underneath their belt, some drivers even more. And this is also a circuit where everyone's in the main championship, or has done a full season, has already raced out once this year. He's jumped in and he's looked pretty comfortable, hasn't he? He was just outside the top 10 in the races this morning and yesterday, and then in this race actually closing in on Rodrigo Gonzalez a little bit and looking very much at home.
Yeah, I mean, obviously just the fastest lap on the previous lap, and has closed that gap to under half a second as Eddie Robinson. So the gap for the race lead is definitely coming down, and Leon Wilson's not a million miles away either. He looked further down at Q-Ho Lee. Martin Molnar in the black and blue. You've got the silver and black and red of Deegan Fairclough, 12th position where he begun proceedings in this race. Way out wide there for Fairclough, and almost got caught out, as what we've seen from a previous couple of drivers. Rowan Campbell-Pilling did that in the previous race at that complex of corners, going out through Club and onto the Hamilton Straight. Got stuck on that curb on the outside. It nearly caught Deegan Fairclough there as he has to fend off Flynn Jacks, who looks to the inside, heading into Village in the Loop. But it will be Fairclough in the number 6, just able to hang on at the moment. Yeah,
we head once again onto the Wellington Straight. Here's another look at that slight movement. You can see just 2 wheels off the back of the curb there from Fairclough. Reduces the grip, car bottoms out, big slide, but just about collected it.
He was trying, he was pushing hard there, as we were seeing in the previous race. Deegan Fairclough was pushing really hard, as was Rowan Campbell-Pilling behind, as I'm sure all the drivers are at this moment of the race. We've completed 7.5 minutes, 17 left to go, and a fastest lap trickles its way down the timing tower there on the left. Quite a few drivers were able to set it. Lucas Flusher is the one that holds it though in 8th position. He's got not much clean air because he's right on the rear end of Maxime Rem. 0.6 of a second the race lead for Rodrigo Gonzalez. Eddie Robinson is keeping close and was closing up quite a lot there. Got a 10th faster than the previous lap, but I think this opening sector has been faster for Rodrigo Gonzalez by maybe about 1/10 or 2 of a second.
If we look further back as well, you can see that the VRDs of Gonzalez and Bedrin there, with the yellow flashes and the red flashes, just falling backwards ever so slightly towards Maxime Rem, who's looking pretty fast at this stage of the race, and he's followed by Flusher and Campbell-Pilling. Let's not forget, Flusher and Campbell-Pilling both on the podium in that race this morning, so coming off the back of a good result, they know they've got the pace. So this little group here, I think from 5th down to about 9th or 10th, is going to come together.
You'd suspect so. I mean, especially you said before about Lucas Flusher and his abilities to rack up podiums this season. He's had quite a few podiums this season, including 4 in a row, and of course the one earlier on. He's had 7 podiums in total, 6 of which have come this season. Clearly he matches well with the XL team, and at the moment it seems potentially unlikely he'll be able to grab a podium in this race, but you never know how these ones unfold. Much like in the previous race that we had earlier on the day, overtaking is proving quite difficult in the heat here of Silverstone.
Yeah, it's tricky out there because the left front tyre, especially around Silverstone, gets an absolute pounding. It's so many long, high-speed corners that really lean on that front tyre that by this stage of the weekend, these tyres, we got a big slide from Max Rem on the exit of Luffield, and Bedrin drops the wheel in the gravel, which is a shining example of how these drivers are absolutely pushing these tyres to their limits. But these qualifying tyres, in qualifying they use 2 sets of tyres, one for qualifying group, or part of qualifying one new set for qualifying 2 to try and set the grid for race 1 and race 2. Then they have those 2 sets only to do both, then race 1, race 2, and then they have to reuse one of those sets for race 3. So these are the tyres that will have, at this point of the weekend, the tyres have done a fair amount of racing. They've done a qualifying session and a race run each, and they will be crying enough, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, they are flying through the tyres. Obviously, over a race weekend, it's 3.6 miles around the Silverstone circuit in qualifying. They get a handful of laps around in each of the qualifying sessions. I think it's 8 or 9 laps in the qualifying session, so 16 apiece. And then in each of the races, it's about 15 laps they're able to do in these races. I mean, I'm not going to do the maths, I don't believe in commentators' maths, but I'm sure you can work it out at home. These tyres, they're effectively doing less than 100 miles. They're being pushed to their absolute limit, especially around here. They really do feel when they start to wear.
Yeah, and you can often get what is referred to as graining, where the surface of the tyre, especially that front left, starts to tear, starts to rip up, and you end up with sort of beading. These tyres that we use in the GB3 Championship are pretty hardy, actually. They don't tend to grain as much as some other formulas that use in single seaters, but it can happen, especially if you push the tyre too hard when it's cold. If you bring it out to temperature a bit more gradually, sometimes that can stop it happening so badly. But it doesn't look like any of the drivers at the front are suffering with it too badly at the moment. They're able to continue to push on as we head into the middle section of the race now.
Martin Molnar there with a look on Q-Ho Lee. 10th position is what Lee is hanging on to in the bright yellow elite car. The black and blue of Martin Molnar, the silver and black of Deegan Fairclough, the 2-time race winner around this circuit, 3-time race winner this season. Martin Molnar yet to grab that victory, and he'll probably have to wait until the next round. There is a battle further up though. That was Flusha and Rem for 7th position. They were battling. Flusha's come through. He was sitting ahead of his teammate Rowan Campbell-Pilling, but now sits ahead of Maxim Rem, although that has switched back the other way, and Rem retakes over 7th position. So there was definitely a bit of side-by-side towards Copse between the two.
Yeah, we saw them go offline side by side down towards Copse, which normally suggests to me that someone's got a bad exit out of the previous corner, and by the chance of Flusha trying to go through, would suggest to me that Rem maybe just dropped 2 wheels on the dirt on the exit. We saw him have that mistake there a couple of laps ago, a slide. There's now we got side by side between Molnar and Fairclough as well. I think Fairclough trying to get past Molnar. They went flash to the back of shot there. It's about 3 or 4 cars back from this battle. We've got continuing on between Molnar and Fairclough, while also Rem does battle with Flusha. We saw in the back of shot Molnar defensive. Who comes through first? It is Fairclough. Fairclough's got past Molnar.
Yeah, one single position picked up in 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Half the race done, half the race to go. Fastest lap still belongs to Rodrigo Gonzalez. That was gathered on the previous lap ahead of Edu Robinson. That gap still sits around 7/10 of a second. Back to the outside then for Lucas Flusha. Rem seemed a little bit vulnerable then. The fight for 7th, and obviously every time Lucas Flusha tries something, Rowan Campbell-Pilling is, well, I would say he's putting his hands together. No, his hands are very firmly attached to the wheel ahead of him, but he's definitely mentally doing that as he's expecting the opportunity to go his way against his teammate. There's a look to the inside, didn't quite complete the attempt there down into Brooklands.
Yeah, this is the difficulty now for both Rem and Lucas Flusha. Rem did have the DRS earlier in the race on the back of Nikita Bedrin ahead in the 20, but unfortunately then that gap has opened out now, so it's Rem that's punching a hole in the air and not having DRS. Then Flusha behind, he's got an opportunity to pass, but he can't be too inventive with his lines because his teammate Rowan Campbell-Pilling, despite the fact of him being a teammate, will absolutely jump at the opportunity to put his car in a gap that would allow him to get past Lucas Flusha.
First black and white flag of the race has been deployed by race control, a warning for track limit excursions. It goes the way of the number 6 of Deegan Fairclough in 11th position. The first time he's had to sit behind a load of cars this weekend. You can see there the top 6 remain very close in Rodrigo Gonzalez, Robinson, Wilson, Mikulev, Patricio Gonzalez and Nikita Bedrin. Bit of a gap back, about 4 seconds, back to Maxim Rem. Then it's Flusha, Campbell-Pilling, then Lee, then Fairclough, then Molnar and Flynn Jacks that are all in one train, and there's a bit of a breather back to Jack Taylor, who's certainly got pretty much the most amount of real estate around this Silverstone circuit at the moment. Plenty of clean air ahead of him, but plenty of clean air behind, but might be a bit of a boring race for him.
Yeah, it's good to see Jack Taylor back up to pace though. He had struggles in qualifying and then didn't finish race 1, did he? Or not on pace anyway, but back up to it, and good to see him back in the championship. Now we've got Nikita Bedrin applying the pressure to the back of his teammate of Patricio Rod Gonzalez. Shows his nose at the inside of the loop, but Gonzalez gives him enough room and they soldier on, but they're dropping them off the back of the group ahead ever so slightly.
And Patricio Gonzalez is the next one to have picked up a black and white warning flag for exceeding track limits, and so he's got to defend from his championship leading teammate for the next 10 minutes, keeping his wheels very much on the circuit, otherwise he will receive a penalty. 10 minutes left to go in the race. That will leave us with 6 laps from this point for Rodrigo Gonzalez to hang on to a first victory, and it would be back-to-back weekends where the Gonzalez brothers will take victory in the reverse grid races. Obviously we had one there in the obviously for Patricio Gonzalez back in the Red Bull ring. Rodrigo continues to lead here.
Heading our way once again through Copse. There's such a high speed corner. The drivers tipping so much speed through there. They have to judge the level of grip they've got with the tyre, but also how much aero wash they're going to have, where the front wing doesn't work as well in the dirty air of the cars in front. And it's so easy to run wide on the exit of a corner because you can turn in expecting the amount of grip you had when you were in clear air, but when you're behind a car in front, you don't have the same amount of front grip. You just understeer, but the front doesn't bite, and then you run beyond track limits, which is potentially why we see more track limit excursions in the race. Now Deegan Fairclough, now he's past Molnar, he's got past the number 19 as well. That's a great move on Q-Ho Lee.
That was a brilliant move, straight around the outside of Stowe. There was defence coming in further ahead from Maxi Marem, and he's got a little bit deep there. Lucas Fluscher's giving it a good go, so Deegan Fairclough promotes his way up into 10th position. Max Rem just about is able to hang on, and with all that battling he's slowing down. Micallef also is trying to get his way past Wilson, set the fast lap of the previous around the outside of Abbey. That was a fantastic move from Micallef to come through into 3rd position in the silver high-tech car, and now the red and white of Leon Wilson will be feeling the pressure of Patricio Gonzalez and Nikita Bedred. Brilliant move at Abbey.
Wow, that might be move of the weekend, Lewis. Round the outside of Abbey, that's bold, and we've also got a battle on for the lead, Lewis. Look at this. The collapse closed between Rodrigo and Eddie Robinson. There's less than 4 tenths between them. It's all kicking off towards the end of this race.
Yeah, suddenly as all the tyres are maybe starting to get a little bit more worn here in GB3, the final race of the weekend. Everything's being turned up to 11. We had a safety car free race in the previous one. We've been safety car free so far here. And we've got 8 minutes left to go, 5 laps at the line. Here's a replay of that fantastic move from Deegan Fairclough to the outside.
Yeah, Deegan Fairclough to the outside, high-tech around the outside of Stowe, and then just a corner or so later, we saw a high-tech around the outside. Here we go. Look at that, the dust being kicked up. Micallef kept his foot in, outstanding.
And you got to say, got to give a little bit of credit to Leon Wilson. Takes 2 to tango. I mean, he didn't make a mistake in all that, didn't drift out wide into Micallef going around the outside of him, who now promotes himself into a potential first podium position for the Maltese driver. This is Rodrigo Gonzalez, who still remains your race leader. Eddie Robinson is close. DRS was wide open for the elite car, that bright yellow elite car, distinctive colours on it. Rodrigo Gonzalez keeps the race lead, but I'm starting to feel here, Piers, that there is definitely going to be an opportunity for Eddie Robinson to steal that race lead away.
Yeah, there's a pace advantage in the elite yellow car there, the 17 of Robinson at this stage. He's closed the gap from what it was nearly a second down to just 2 and a bit tenths. Good exit out of club means that Rodrigo Gonzalez not under pressure at the moment. It's the Mexican driver versus the Spanish driver. Reminder, Rodrigo Gonzalez joined us for a part season last season, in for the full season this season with VRD, and the new driver this weekend of Eddie Robinson could be on for a win on debut. That would be incredible.
Yeah, obviously Max Rem did it last season in race 3 back in Monza, but and you could say obviously winning on debut Nikita Bedred did, but I don't necessarily count the start of the season because there's quite a lot of debutants, but joining mid-season he's very much impressing. Look to the inside there, just jink down the inside for Patricio Gonzalez, 5th position. He'd dearly love to join his brother on the podium here this afternoon, but he's running out of time to be able to get past Wilson and Micallef, who started to run away. Fast lap on the previous one from Micallef, fastest middle sectors coming in from Patricio Gonzalez. That's why he's able to get onto the back of Leon Wilson and maybe look for a challenge.
Max Rem now still very much the cork in the bottle here. He's holding this whole queue of cars up, defending from Fluscher, Campbell Pilling, Fairclough, Lee, Molnar. They're all queuing up behind. Look at that train of cars. It's literally nose to tail, isn't it, behind Rem. He's in 7th place, just about doing all he needs to do at this stage. Have solid exits and don't make any mistakes. Side by side go the 2XL teammates. Can they make it through safely? Round the outside, Campbell Pilling goes. Inside for Lucas Fluscher.
It's going to be Campbell Pilling though taking over that one, going through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. Rowan Campbell Pilling in the number 8 is through. Here's the battle for the race lead. Rodrigo Gonzalez in the white, red and yellow. It's Eddie Robinson in the bright yellow and green. Looks back to the outside into Vale. Onto the brakes they go. Eddie Robinson's trying to steal victory away. Elite had a victory stolen from them when we were here earlier on in the year. Of course, Flynn Jack's behind the wheel of that one. Jin Nakamura was the one who came out on top. They would dearly love to steal one back in the hands of their brand new driver for this round. They remain extremely close, going up the hill through Abbey, through the farm curve and into Village and the Loop. Back to the outside for Eddie Robinson. Right hand side of your screen is going to try and go all the way around the outside. Will they be contact between the two of them? Rodrigo Gonzalez was pushing him all the way to the outside of the circuit. Bit of a lock up there coming in from the bright yellow of Eddie Robinson. They remain side by side going through Aintree and out onto the Wellington Straight, and look who's closing in on this. Micallef is right onto the scene for High Tech, who could be getting another race victory for the High Tech second team. Micallef looking for his first. Eddie Robinson looking for the race lead. To the outside of Brooklyn as he goes. He backs out of it. Rodrigo Gonzalez was aggressive there and was able to hang on.
What excellent racing we're seeing on this lap. We saw side by side from the 2XL teammates. They came through cleanly, and we've seen a move and a pass and a repass from Eddie Robinson and then Rodrigo Gonzalez. Now we're going to try again down to Copse.
Oh, there's going to be a drag race between the pair of them. To the inside, Eddie Robinson, a fantastic fight here in a Silverstone thriller. The outside for Rodrigo Gonzalez. Is he going to keep on the racing line? Just about. And here comes Micallef up and under, 3 wide towards Maggotts, Beckers and Chapel. Left-hand side of your screen, that is Micallef. The bright yellow of Eddie Robinson, and it remains the race lead for Rodrigo Gonzalez. Leon Wilson and the red and white for Arden is right under the mix as well. This is incredible stuff with 3 laps left to go.
Yeah, Micallef's right in this now. He's got the momentum. Rodrigo Gonzalez defended excellently into turn 1 and kept hold of the lead. Micallef, opportunist move. Look at Leon Wilson as well. He's got the run on Eddie Robinson now. Once again, we're seeing a driver unsuccessful in a move, then fall back places in the subsequent corners.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is excellent stuff. That was great from Micallef to have dropped back at Copse, to have gone underneath, almost got the pair of them, but still moves his way up into second spot, and we'll have 2 laps left to go, about 10 miles from where we are until we see the checkered flag to try and get victory in this race. But look now, Rodrigo Gonzalez is starting to build that gap, sits around 0.7 of a second, obviously after Micallef was giving it a good go. But look at those VRD racing cars as well at the rear. Patricio Gonzalez and Nikita Bedrin remain close. There comes a look to the inside. Patricio Gonzalez is trying to send one on Wilson, can't quite finish that one off.
And look at Nikita Bedrin as well, trying to get past his teammate, but he won't have the exit. Lewis, what racing we're being treated to. How close have we been on so many corners? Still no contact as now Patricio uses DRS to get alongside Leon Wilson.
Nikita Bedrin back to the outside though. Wilson's going to go around the outside. We've got the white and yellow of Patricio Gonzalez, who sent it in deep at Brooklyn to take 4th. Now Nikita Bedrin's around the outside of Wilson, who's going to drop off the podium and off the top 5 as well to 6th position for Wilson. The VRD racing cars come through with 2 laps left to go. It is still a solid lead for Rodrigo Gonzalez, but once again it's looking fast for the likes of Micallef behind, who sets another good lap trying to close in on your race leader.
Wow, what racing, so close. We've seen on so many of the corners through world famous sections like Maggotts and Beckett, Stowe, Vale, then into Village and the Loop. It all started with a brilliant move from Eddie Robinson, didn't it? And then it sort of cascaded down the top 5 and 6 places. Leon Wilson, unlucky, just wrong place, wrong time. He was looking at potential podium just 1 lap ago, and now he's outside the top 5.
Obviously the fight for the race lead is incredible, the fight for 4th is incredible. Back down the order, there's some brilliant fights as well, as we've got Fu against Pribble. Fu's come through on Pribble there on the run through Cop, so there's been a switch back there outside of the points, fair enough, but still some exciting battling. Rodrigo Gonzalez though, can he see this one out? He's got 2 laps, a lap and a half from where we are to do it. A great recovery drive as well from Abby Pulling. He's got Dante Vinci and Peter Balzanellis not too far down the road. In the background you've got the fight between Bedrin and Wilson. Yeah,
Wilson going to the outside. Can he do the move on Bedrin that was done on him earlier in the race? No, not quite this time, but yeah, you're right, Lewis. From the pit lane, Pulling's done a good job to make a few positions and has got great pace. He's closing in now, as you mentioned, on the back of Vinci and Balzanellis. Now we continue to look at this battle. Bedrin defensive slightly into the loop. Didn't want Leon Wilson to have a go there, but the gap on the exit opens out.
Just updating you with race control. No one in this top group, apart from Patricio Gonzalez, have a warning for track limits heading on to the final lap. Outside of it, we have recently just got Rowan Campbell-Pilling just got pinged for track limits, just for a warning, not for a penalty. Same with Martin Molnar, final warning for those drivers to join the likes of Jason Pribble and some of the other drivers that are on the grid trying to battle their way up the order. Nikita Bedrin's gone out wide heading on to the final lap of the race.
Yeah, there are those confirmed warning flags, number 2 and number 8. That's Martin Molnar and the number 8 of Rowan Campbell-Pilling. So they're on their final warning. They've got 1 more lap to stay within track limits. We continue to keep an eye on the front of the field. Micallef now closing in 4/10 over the line. Visually it's closer at this stage. Micallef having a look at Maggotts and Beckett. You're not going to get a move done there, son, but he might have an opportunity to use the DRS down to Stowe.
This is getting very tense, and Rodrigo Gonzalez, who was in position for a podium when we were racing at the Red Bull Ring, had contact and lost that opportunity, that one. this victory is on the line. But remember, when we were racing back in Silverstone all those months ago, it was that final run down into Brooklands where there was the switch for the race lead. Jin Nakamura making it 3 wide to take over the race lead into the final corners. Bit of a lock up there from McGlade, and it will be the 22 of Rodrigo Gonzalez hanging on, but I'm sure that would have given a bit of a fright in his mirrors.
Well, this is it again. McGlade, an attempted move, not getting the move done, and now he's going to be the one that is backing towards. That's Abby Pulling. Pulling's off out.
That is Abby Pulling, spin into the opening corner and out of the race. We were saying about that excellent recovery drive from the pit lane. Not sure what happened there.
Sounds like commentator's curse to me. Sorry, Abby. Anyway, we continue to look at this battle for the lead here. The top 3 right together. Can McGlade use the last DRS zone of the race to try and effect a move? He's so close, Lewis. This is going to be an attempted move.
For Rodrigo Gonzalez, he's been racing in this championship for 25 races. This is his 26th for Jacob McGlade. It's been 2 weekends. He's trying to give it a go, though. He looks to the outside heading into Brooklands, and he's going full send. High Tech is making the move, and it will be McGlade to take over the race lead, just like it was months ago. High Tech return to the front of the field, and out through the final corner, it will be High Tech sweeping the weekend here at Silverstone. 2 victories for Fairclough and 1 for McGlade as well across the line to win for the first time in GB3. Rodrigo Gonzalez and Eddie Robinson will join on the podium. We have a brand new podium for the top 3, but what a move from McGlade late on.
Wow, what a move. Lewis, there's been so many moves and situations that have been similar to the first event of the season. We saw Flusha being spun around into Brooklands in the first race of the season and in the first race of this weekend, and then we've seen race victory snatched from the jaws of defeat from a High Tech driver. It was Jin Nakamura around the outside of Flynn Jacks. This time it was McGlade around the outside of Gonzalez. You have to feel for Rodrigo Gonzalez. He did everything right until the final lap of the race. Just an exit of McGlade was just too strong. DRS round the outside, and to be fair to McGlade, he braked so late. He got the move done. Great racing. Honestly, probably one of the highest quality races in GB3 history there. There was so many opportunities. So let's have a look at this again. So McGlade to the outside. Rodrigo Gonzalez doing everything right. Squeezes him, but just so late on the brakes. Confidence late from McGlade. Nothing Rodrigo Gonzalez could do about that. He'll be bitterly disappointed, but should be proud with a strong second place.
Well, we've had 6 races at Silverstone this season in GB3, 4 of which have been won by High Tech. Of course, Jin Nakamura, Deegan Fairclough twice, and now McGlade. It's very impressive. There is someone who unfortunately will not be feeling the height of a victory this weekend. Abby Pulling, disappointed to be out of the car. Big spin there into the opening turn.
Yeah.
Big shame. It's
unusual to have a spin there. I don't know if anything's gone wrong on the car for Abby there, or I don't know if something's just, technical issue, or whether she just made a mistake. We didn't see the second half of that, but it's an unusual place to see a car spinning in GB3 because it's nearly flat out, just a half lift or a lift into there normally in conditions. But disappointment for Abby, not the weekend she was looking for. A driver that's taken pole position this season, taken a race win from pole position as well. Would have been hoping for more this weekend. Unfortunate for her. Rodin not having the strongest weekend. Let's not forget that they are looking to try and take the team's title once again. They are were trailing VRD coming into today, but actually High Tech, as you mentioned, Lewis, the team that have taken 4 out of 6 races here, they came to the weekend in 4th place. They're going to be looking probably to try and close, well, they will be closing the gap after this weekend, but it's going to get pretty close in both the drivers' second downwards, but also in the teams' championships.
Yeah, and this is the thing, as much as we always focus on the drivers this, the drivers that, the teams are also playing for their own championship games, and obviously the Rodin team were the dominant force last season in that epic championship won by Alex Ninovic, obviously Abby Pulling, Jean-Marco Pradel, the trio that were able to absolutely dominate the field, and they pieced together a perfect season like what we saw in 2025 as well in GB4 with Elite Motorsport. Sometimes the Drivers' Championship close, but the Team's Championship's not. Sometimes the Drivers' Championship's not close, but the Team's Championship is. See their 2-time race winner this round in Deegan Fairclough pulling his way as they are all marshalled their way around to obviously get the cars all weighed and such to make sure that everything is legal and above board. This will be Rodrigo Gonzalez. You can always tell it's red for Rodrigo. It's not purple for Patricio though, so that's disappointing, isn't it? I'm sure he's dejected. It's same as what we saw from Flynn Jacks at the start of the year, where Flynn Jacks got his first podium, which was incredible, and obviously was still disappointed because he was leading going on to that last run down into Brooklands. It is the exact same for Rodrigo Gonzalez there, leading going down into the final complex of corners and having victory snatched away from you by High-Tech. Round of applause there for McGlade, and I mean, you've got to say that's a really impressive performance. Started out obviously joined us for the very first time when we went racing at the Hungaroring. Ended up finishing in 9th and 6th. The other result being a 14th place. Red Bull Ring wasn't quite so good either. 11th, 18th and 10th. Finished in 9th to start the weekend here. 11th in the second race. Hovering always towards the back end of the top 10. Not quite into the top 5s. Not too far outside of it for the most part. But this race onto the podium and onto the top step of it as well. And for Eddie Robinson as well, excellent first weekend of the championship. 12th for his first 2 races, and a podium in his third. So you definitely cannot complain about that one. Eddie Robinson being in third position. You might be a bit disappointed to have dropped back from pole position, but it's so easy to sometimes lose your head a little bit when you drop back off of the top few positions. Once you start getting past, it's so easy to let that be basically a freight train and not get your rhythm back. But thankfully was able to find some rhythm and keep relatively up with Rodrigo Gonzalez and keep Patricio Gonzalez at bay. Patricio Gonzalez, Nikita Bedrin, obviously they were fighting more with Leon Wilson throughout the running of the final race of the weekend. There's Rowan Campbell-Pilling, of course, he was on the podium in the race earlier on in the day, ended up 8th in this one. XL's weekend still running quite well, of course. They were obviously both cars on the podium in the previous race, and in this one 8th and 9th to cap off a successful weekend for them. Rowan Campbell-Pilling's by far his best weekend in the championship thus far, with a third and a second. Rose up in this race from 11th into the top 10 with an 8th place finish. We'll head down to Chris McCarthy though to catch up with our top 3.
Jacob, huge congratulations for taking victory. Just your third weekend in the championship and took the victory and did it in some style there as well.
I'm speechless, honestly. Like, I didn't expect anything from this race, and I got a decent start, but the first laps weren't great. But I knew the race was long. I kept calm and I took the opportunities that the others left. So,
talk us through the final move for the lead.
Oh my God! Like I got a good run out of 14. I was side by side, and you know what? I have nothing to lose. I'm just going to send it, and I made it work.
Absolutely, and we think you've made history by becoming the first Maltese driver to take a win in a single-seater championship. How does that make you feel hearing that?
I am super, super happy, and honestly, I'm speechless about this race. I'm just super happy.
I think a lot of us are as well. The atmosphere down here was pretty electric. Who would you like to thank for this?
I would like to thank, honestly, everyone that's been helping me. High-Tech, my parents, all of my sponsors, and all of the other people that helped me. It's been very nice.
Your first win, a first for the nation as well, and a clean sweep for the team. That's a perfect end to the weekend.
Yeah, it's perfect. 3 wins for High-Tech, and I'm super glad. It's been very great.
Congratulations. We'll let you go and celebrate with the team and catch your breath back after that. Meanwhile, we'll speak to Rodrigo Gonzalez. Rodrigo, unfortunate there, just missing out at the end, but nevertheless, a podium finish and a first for you in GB3.
Yeah, first podium, very happy about that. A little bit sore for losing first at the last lap in the penultimate corner, but I can't complain.
It was a tough race overall, wasn't it? One where you couldn't afford to make any mistakes out there. Tell us how that was in the car.
Yeah, I was pressured since the start. Really just focused on my driving to not make mistakes. At the end I was struggling a little bit with my front tires. Had a little bit of deck there. But yeah, pretty good.
First podium, and you think this race proves that you can not only get more, but you can now go and get those wins that you're chasing.
Yeah, I feel that this first podium is like a motivator. So I feel very, how do I say it, like less pressured now. I feel like it was a good breakthrough.
You'll be back, I'm sure. Well done. We'll see you at the podium, and likewise, we'll have a very quick chat with Eddie Robinson. Wow, what a race to be involved in. Your first weekend, and you're in the best race of the season.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, I don't know what to say. We came here for like a one-off and without any expectations, and I think we did really well considering everyone's had a lot of time in this car. I've just come here for one race and a bit of winter testing, so considering we were like on the back foot, I think we've evolved very quickly and done a really good job. So I want to thank Elite for that, and yeah.
Now we've seen you on the podium, are we going to see you back?
Oh, I really want to come here again. But I'd love to, but I'm unsure yet. Main focus is F4 still. Try and do well in that, but I'd love to come over again.
If you're not back this season, I'm sure we'll see you back in a future season. Well done to Eddie Robinson. Well done to all the top three. Here are the top three cars. Clean sweep for High Tech, and they did it in some style. We've had history made for Malta by Jacob McGlade. Here is how he did it.
Highlights from the GB3 Championship, round 15. Good start towards the front of the field from Rodrigo Gonzalez. Eddie Robinson was giving it a good go at the opening corner, but couldn't quite find his way through. Robinson dropping back from the reverse grid pole into the clutches of Micallef as well. Wilson was trying to find his way through, would get through on Micallef. Meanwhile, the fights for the two VRDs for 5th and 6th position would see Patricio Gonzalez just ahead of Nikita Bedrin. Big slide for Deegan Fairclough as he was pushing as hard as he could, with Micallef putting on move of the race to go around the outside of Abbey to retake 3rd position ahead of Leon Wilson. He'd set his sights further ahead to try and close up on these two that were running over the race lead. A big move to the inside for Eddie Robinson. Rodrigo Gonzalez was trying the up and under, and whilst they were battling hard, Micallef saw the opportunity to come through into 2nd position. He tried the up and under at Copse, and by the time they got to Magnus Beckers and Chapel, he was into 2nd position and was closing in on the race lead. Patricio Gonzalez, meanwhile, was making some big dives, trying to find his way past Leon Wilson. Abby Pulling was having a spin late on in the race, unfortunately causing her retirement from proceedings late on. Meanwhile, last lap, last few corners, Micallef was looking to the outside. Rodrigo Gonzalez in the race lead. Micallef was going full send at Brooklands, and he was right around the outside to allow High Tech to sweep the weekend with Micallef on top. Micallef would climb to the top of his car, joining, of course, Rodrigo Gonzalez and Eddie Robinson on the podium, and a superb performance it was indeed. We'll be seeing him on the podium in a few moments' time. Before that, we'll take a look at provisional race results that will leave the likes of Micallef right on top. Rodrigo Gonzalez, Eddie Robinson, Patricio Gonzalez and Nikita Bedrin. VRD Racing getting 3 cars in top 5. Leon Wilson down to 6th position with Maxim Rem in 7th. Rowan Campbell filling in 8th with Lucas Flusha for XL Motorsports in 8th and 9th position. And Deegan Fairclough making it 2 victories and a 10th place to round out his Silverstone running, starting to turn things around for the High Tech team. Of course, the championship standings, it's still going to be a whopping lead for Nikita Bedrin. Not quite an entire round, or it might be just by 1 point actually. 363 points for Bedrin. Molnar, 260 points. Lucas Flusha will be in 3rd position, 249 points. Then it's Maxim Rem and Patricio Gonzalez. Deegan Fairclough, who moves right up towards the thick end of things, at least towards the top 5 in the championship, with 6th spot. We've got Rowan Campbell Pilling, Flynn Jacks, Abby Pulling and Q-Ho Lee behind all that. We'll see the drivers climb to the podium then, and as I mentioned before, these are 3 drivers that we are yet to see on the podium here in GB3. Of course, for Eddie Robinson, easy to say that one, it's his first weekend in the GB3 Championship. And he will take to the step on the right-hand side of the podium there to receive his first trophy in GB3. 12th and 3rd for the Elite Motorsports driver, which is a fantastic performance from an opening weekend in this championship, as the podium kept themselves ready to head their way out. There might be some bubbles on the podium to be sent around from the drivers, because well, there's no race for these drivers to deal with any of the weekend left, so they can enjoy and get the good shots for the lot of them. Well, still waiting for them to head their way over, and Nikita Bedrin is the championship leader, and of course Jacob McGlade is the race winner. We'll head down to Piers Prior.
The action, Lucas, we saw you go very, very close side by side with Rowan, your teammate there, through Maggers and Beckett's. One of the best pieces of racing of the year. Unfortunately, you were the one that lost out in that battle, but still great racing.
Yeah, it was a hard race. We struggled to overtake Rem down the straights. But I think overheated my tires, and then I was just like a sitting duck in the fast corners. But I think we maximized all we could. Obviously a bit disappointed with how the pace was, but I just want to say thank you very much to the team. Car has been on it all weekend. We got double podium in race 2, which is what matters. And I think we can leave you on a positive note that we have the speed and we have the rhythm to be up there. So just have to finish the job. Yeah, exactly. You've been consistent in the championship, which is why you're so high up coming into this weekend. Unfortunately, we saw the issue in race 1, very similar to the start of the season, getting spun around at Brooklyn. There's not really a huge amount you could have done there, but consistency has been the order of your season. Another solid result there. Pace was pretty decent, if not the fastest, but right in there. Surely that gives you good confidence you can continue that good form into the remainder of the season. Yeah, I think apart from obviously the 2 crashes here, which I couldn't do much about, I think all the other rest of the races have been within the top 10. We've got 6 podiums, so definitely I think it's a championship that we're doing quite well. The season is, we're always there, which is important stuff to be able to finish up in the championship. Just trying to catch Nikita now, but not really focusing on that. We just have to focus round by round as they come, and we'll worry about the championship once everything is over. And what about the races and the tracks to come as well? We've got Brands GP, we've got of course then finishing the season later in the year at Barcelona. Are you looking forward to those, finishing on home soil? Yeah, definitely Barcelona is a big one I'm looking forward to. Donington also, and then we have Brands Hatch. But looking forward to all of them. Let's see how they all come. I think we'll be there. I know we'll be there, up there again, challenging for podiums and for wins. So just have to, as I said, just have to get the job done and keep pushing. Get the job done indeed. Lucas Flusha, thank you so much for taking time to chat. So let's go and enjoy your afternoon, chill out, and get yourself prepared for the next event. We're going to chat to still championship leader. I know it's been a difficult weekend for you, Nikita, but you still maintain the championship lead after your big points that you had achieved at the previous rounds. Can you come back stronger?
For sure. It's very good that we have a break now. I think this is exactly what we need to analyze everything that's happened. It hasn't been going our way this weekend, but honestly, we still kept a really solid gap in the championship, and this is exactly what we need. When the weekend is pretty bad and we still manage to do this, I think this is exactly what we need to get closer to the title.
It was damage limitation this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a lot, honestly. Every time I was out, there was something not the way it should have been. But it's still really good that we keep the points, we keep finishing the races, and now it's good that we have a break to sort everything out.
More wins coming?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, easy, confident, love that. Nikita Bedrin, championship leader for VRD. We'll let you go and cool off as we bring Chris back in to have a look back at what was the final race of this weekend. Plenty to talk about there.
Wow, definitely race of the season. One of the best races I think the championship's had for a little while. I think it's largely down to the circuit, isn't it? And we talked about this before, the amount of opportunity there was at the front of the field. We had drivers there not only going for their first wins but their first podiums, and they all laid it down on the line. I think Micallef, due to the fact he's a late entry to the championship, he said it when we spoke to him here in Park May, had nothing to lose. And do you think that approach is what got him over the line?
Yes, I think it helps, but you still have to absolutely have the confidence in the car and the setup and the tyres and your ability to be able to pull a move like that off. You don't just send it in willy-nilly and accidentally come out in front, do you? That's a brilliant move. I'm sure he would have watched Jin Nakamura's move around the outside of Flynn Jacks at the first event of the season in the third race, and he basically replicated it, took the lead. You spoke to Jacob. I didn't actually hear the interview. I was teeing up those interviews, but I'm sure he was very happy with that. You got to feel a bit though for Rodrigo Gonzalez.
Yeah, he was lost for words, really, Jacob Micallef, and the team here, High Tech. I could sort of hear him saying in the background, this might mean the next round goes really badly because they come to their home race and won all 3 races. So what a weekend for High Tech.
High Tech, we know one of the best teams in single-seater racing, have been right at the front of this championship since its inception, really, since they joined in 2020, I think. And they're really showing that at Silverstone they are the team to beat. They can continue that form onto the next races as we go to our sort of UK road trip mixed with the Brands and Donington, and then head out to Barcelona as well, where they'll have experience over some of the more UK-based teams. Yeah, they could have a strong end to the year. Deegan Fairclough, whose pace was impressive this weekend.
Let's talk about very quickly what's coming up then for the rest of the season. You mentioned a bit of a road trip around the UK and then ending over in Barcelona. It's going to be an exciting final 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's a real difference when we go from somewhere like Silverstone, and we've been at a lot of FIA Grade 1 circuits, Formula 1 circuits with Hungaroring, Red Bull Ring, Silverstone. We're going to be heading to Brands and Donington. Very different challenge, a unique challenge, a lot more what we would say in the business as technical circuits, where you've got to be a lot more precise. It's a bit more tricky to get the right line. The setup's a bit difficult. You've got to compromise a lot more. Brands GP, narrow circuit, bumpy. The ride height is set by the compression down towards Paddock Hill Bend. There's a lot of undulation compared to somewhere like Silverstone, and a lot of aggressive undulation. Then you've got Donington, high, medium speed. Again, a narrow circuit, a different challenge entirely, where the car is set up differently. You have to drive the car differently. So we may see a bit of ebb and flowing of pace, and then we end at another big, wide open, high minimum speed circuit like Barcelona. So a lot for the teams to get their head rounds, and a lot for the drivers to concentrate on too.
There is plenty, isn't there, of opportunity coming up for the drivers there. Excited for it?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. We've got a real interesting one. Our runaway championship leader having a bad weekend. He just said, Nikita Bedrin. Good time to have a bit of a break now. They can work on it, but if he can't find that form, other drivers are going to smell some blood in the water.
That's what's coming up then for the rest of the season, as Piers said, and Nikita said a little bit of a break coming up before we will be coming back for the next round. It's been absolutely brilliant for GB3 going here at Silverstone. We've got the podium coming up next, so we're going to head to that now, and then we'll come back for some more reflection.
Bit of a delay with the technical issue. We do get the podium now, as the drivers will take to it. We've got Eddie Robinson, who will take to third position, his first podium in the GB3 Championship. Will be joined on the podium, of course, for the first time as well. Rodrigo Gonzalez, second position. I'm sure a little bit disappointed after that, but still a superb drive from him. And of course, Micallef will take to the top step of the podium for the first time in his GB3 career. 9th, 14th and 6th of the opening weekend he did, then 11th, 18th and 10th, 9th, 11th and 1st to steal away the victory. They receive their trophies, of course. We still have plenty of prizes to deal with in the GB3, not just the top 3. We'll also be visited by our Sunoco Fastest Driver of the Weekend award, as Micallef holds the trophy aloft. And again, a superb performance for not just for Micallef as a driver, but also for the high-tech team. All 3 victories over this weekend. They have played their cards perfectly so far this weekend, and they'd ideally like to keep that going as we get ready for the next few weekends of the championship before we return to Europe. And of course, out towards Barcelona at the end of the season. Sunoco Fastest Driver of the Weekend award, Martin Molnar, still yet to take that first victory. It is sat on the horizon though for him. It was a second place finish. He's been on the podium 6 times so far this season. The Omologato One to Watch award going to Deegan Fairclough, of course, after his brilliant performance to take 2 victories in the opening 2 races of this weekend. We have our 5 drivers onto the podium. Obviously, the top 3 from this race. Deegan Fairclough, I'm sure, will be pretty happy with how this weekend's gone with those 2 victories and a 10th place in this one. See if the drivers do actually spray any of the bubbles around. They have well deserved for it before they'll place it down. We'll actually head our way back to Chris and Piers.
Well, that is all from the round here at Silverstone for GB3. We're into the second half of the championship, and we continue our tour of the UK when we go to Donington Park on the 5th and 6th of September. Make sure you join us after the summer break. For now, though, and myself, Chris McCarthy, Piers Bryer and Lewis McGlade up in commentary. Goodbye.